Hello, my name is Cleveland, and I'm here to teach you about the Bahá'í Faith. And you would help yourself out greatly if you would obtain this book, God Speaks Again, by Kenneth Can be found on Amazon, uh, used condition, under $6. So no excuse. You need to go get it. I'm going to teach you about the Bahá'í Faith. I'm going to teach you some of the most important things about the Bahá'í Faith. So, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. Go ahead, get a piece of paper, get a pencil. I'm going to give you all the details. It's going to probably give you a hand cramp. I don't know. Hope not. But okay, go ahead. Get the paper and the pencil. All right, that's enough. That's enough. Okay, here's the gist of the Baha'i Faith. There's the individual, and there's God. Oh, that's it. There's no more. Everything about the Baha'i Faith is there's Creator, and there's you. And this is in regards to your personal life, spiritual journey. It is totally between you and God. Now, obviously, we're not talking about criminal behavior, because no matter what, the police are going to come after you. So that's not a good spiritual journey. But the police are going to come get you, put you in jail. Nothing we can do about that. But basically, there's no clergy, no pope, no bishops, no ministers, no priest. Clergy of any shape, way, or form are forbidden. What's a clergy? Clergy is somebody that a church hires to interpret the Bible, the teachings, the holy words to the congregation. And everybody else is the flock or whatever. We don't have that. There's you and there's God. Got it? Now we have another thing that is kind of a side note. And this is about, well, this actually kind of like supports and is a pillar of that same concept of it's you and God. And it's called backbiting. And backbiting is very similar to other religious groups. Judge not, lest ye be judged. You can't even think about, is that person doing bad? You can't question that person if they're doing poorly on their spiritual journey. You can't ask other people, hey, are they doing this and that? And, shouldn't be doing that. And we got to talk to, no. This is backbiting. Backbiting equates to judge not, lest ye be judged. You got a log in your eye. You got no right, no reason to look at anybody else. You need to take care of yourself. Okay? It's tough. This is tough stuff. It's tough for the other people, because people are people, and no matter what is taught in the Baha'i Faith, they're still going to act like people. So when I tell you this stuff, like no backbiting, it's kind of like basically there so you can protect yourself from people who haven't become as advanced as you are. And they're going to worry about other people, and they really like a lot of material to read and study, and they believe there's a thin line that you have to walk. And it's just not so. And then there's another thing. There's another item that is a God-given right. And Baha'u'llah, who's the manifestation of God for this dispensation, the brand new baby manifestation of the world. And he himself says, I've written an ocean of words, an ocean of tablets and booklets and tips and guidance, teachings. Some things are even called laws. But the thing that is extremely important, you're not required to blindly follow any of it. So nobody can sit there and say, hey, you know, such and such book, it says, you're not supposed to be doing that. Well, you kick back to backbiting. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry, sir. But you're being wrong to try to show me things that you feel are wrong, and you have no reason to worry about me. My spiritual journey is my spiritual journey, and you need to worry about your spiritual journey because you're not perfect. And you know, anybody who actually continues to approach you, and you can take it up with the local spiritual assembly, which is a democratically elected body of 9. And here again, there's no politicking allowed, so people can't say, "Hey, vote for me," and other people can't say, "Hey, let's vote for this person." It's strictly that you get to know everybody, and the ones that you feel are going to be the most mature and comprehend these basic teachings that I'm telling you, and you would vote for them. And it's not that they're over us, but they're there to help us. They're kind of like a city committee, people that are in a position where they're looking at the community. Maybe the community wants to have a school, and they look after the school system and make sure that everything's functioning. But they're not above you. There's nobody above you anywhere in the world, no matter what cloth they wear, no matter what uniform they wear. The only thing above you is God. So I mean, this is hard for a lot of other members to grasp, and you get into that. So maybe look at this as like a survival guide. How to survive and thrive in the Bahá'í Faith. Understand your rights, your God-given rights to your own private spiritual journey. What's a spiritual journey? Well, we don't have any idea where anybody came from, what their background is, who their parents were or weren't, what the parents acted like, what they didn't act like, how hard they had it, how difficult they had it, whether they were abused, or maybe they were just ignored, the type of education that they had. We don't know. We have no idea. And so that's another thing that goes back to backbiting. You can't backbite because you don't know. You can't say that they're not doing their spiritual journey correct. They may be doing an outstanding job of spiritual protection and learning and journey, and that's what's best for them. Life is a struggle. I don't care who you are. Doesn't matter. You can be a member of the Baha'i. You don't have to be a member of the Baha'i. We're all humans, and we all have human nature. So I think it's only good. Um, they do ask that, you know, we're totally in charge. We're asked to study the guidance, the teachings, some of the laws. Then only after careful analysis and research, only then accept what we studied by taking it to heart. That's powerful. You don't have to, and you don't have to report back. You don't have to look behind your back. Are people watching you? Are you doing good enough? Are you spiritual enough? No. And I mean this goes to everybody. Baha'u'llah came for every human being on the planet. And Baha'u'llah says that some of the things that we've struggled with for thousands of years, there's no hell. There is no hell for anybody. Never has been, never will be a place for so-called sinners to go to. No. We look at hell as kind of an analogy. And it's the distance that we put between ourselves and God. And usually when we're doing that, we're miserable. We're having a horrible life. And we live a life of self-induced pain. We blame it on everybody else. But we're the ones that are in charge, and we can't blame other people. And then we got, there's no heaven in the sense that certain special, privileged people who are sinless, whatever, have a special place next to God. And it doesn't matter if you're a Baha'i, it doesn't matter if you're atheist, it doesn't matter if you're agnostic, Buddhist, Christian, never heard of any of this, whether you're in the LGBTQ community, it doesn't matter. We all end up in the same place where we continue our journey to obtain spiritual growth. And at such and such a point, and it depends totally on us, that we decide not to put anything between us and God, and then that's heaven, because we're drawn to God. We allow ourselves to be drawn to God. And it's all good. And that was one of the things Baha'u'llah came. I brought you this knowledge. Death is a joy. I'm not asking anybody to go out there and do it at all. But when we have passed, there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. Nobody is going to be in eternal damnation. And Baha'is, a person who's a member of the Baha'i community, they don't have a special privilege in it. They're no better than anybody else. People are people. There's going to be bad Baha'is, and there's going to be good Baha'is. There's going to be bad people generally, and good people generally. The only thing that I would say what might be, somebody might call it a burden, maybe a responsibility, maybe a privilege, is that we, every individual member, tries their best to teach anybody that wants to learn about the Baha'i Faith. And they teach it. And you can go get this book, God Speaks Again. I recommend it because it's in plain English. And it's backed up by small extractions out of the teachings, kind of written in a King James Version type, which, like for me, I never could understand it real well. And by the time I sat there and kind of like figured out what they were saying, then I had to figure out what their meaning was. Um, but in this book, it teaches you the meaning in plain English and gives an authoritative um, paragraph that backs it up. And it's a great study guide. There's in the back of the book, there's references to other books, authoritative books that for advanced reading. Okay, we don't have a church. We don't go to church on Sundays. We don't go to church once a week. This is kind of falling back to the older days. Um, people went to each other's homes and they spent time with each other. And they got together, the community got together, and they spoke about what they were doing and what they weren't doing, and what was happening, and what they'd hope they could accomplish and maybe accomplish together. Um, it's and there's nobody that is up there that preaches to us. What we do is we have an official meeting between members only, and it's a community meeting, and the very first of it is whoever's hosting the meeting can make out copies of some of the teachings and ask for volunteers to read different teachings, and that goes a little bit quicker. And you can also, people can also, well, if there's a special thing that I want to read, that's I found important, I can read that. So that's the beginning of us getting together, and it's called our 19-day feast. So it's every 19 days, and by doing this at the very beginning, it's kind of a centering, of bringing into our minds a reminder of our Creator, which has perfect love, and is going to welcome everybody back after this unique journey that we do. And it's all about spiritual growth, and leave behind all the material problems, problems at work, the problems with the flat tires, the problems with the kids are just driving me crazy. I got another vet bill. You leave all that behind. And so the second part of it is, community talk. Does anybody have a concern? What's going on in the community? Does anybody need help? Is everything going okay? Do we have plans, projects? There's like one project that is pretty common, is where Baha'is volunteer to have kind of a basic spiritual training classes for children, classes for teens, and basically just say thank you, no thank you, and sharing, things like that. And how's that going? Um, and then the last part is we eat a meal together. You can do potluck. The host can provide all the food, but there's a lot of laughing, and there's a lot of jokes. Um, there's a lot of hugging. We're huggers. Sorry. And so then for another 19 days, we just focus on ourselves. So we do what we can. There's some guidance on, if you have time, if you can give it justice, maybe you want to read for 2 minutes in the morning to kind of center yourself, which is good when you're walking out the door into the crazy world. And then at noon, there's a real short prayer that you can say. I don't know, 6 lines. I didn't count them. 6 lines. And, you find a quiet place and you can think it in your mind. You can read it off the page. If you can remember and quote, which I have a very hard time remembering things now. I'm pretty old. So I need the books. So you do that again, and that kind of like in the middle of the day, maybe when you have lunch, you take, really doesn't take any more than a minute to read the short prayer. And here again, it's just about assessing your morning and getting rid of frustrations and say, hey, there's better things coming, believe it or not. And that's a chunk of it right there. That's a chunk of it. But I just want everybody to remember this, not to blindly follow any of the written word. And you can ask other people, well, what did you think this said? And you listen, but you don't go by that. You don't go according to that. You go back and you study again and you look at research and find different things, look into your heart, if you're struggling with something. And it's up to you. Okay? That's powerful. That is powerful. And like I said, the only thing you're going to run into is other members who don't understand that, which is connected to backbiting is forbidden. And, this is life. We don't know where you came from, what you're doing, what's in your heart. You do the best you can do. What more do you need? So, okay, this is the first video. I don't speak very well. I didn't write down a script. I'm just telling you this after being a Bahá'í since 2005, and it's 2025, and I've had I still look at some of the stuff. I go, what? Come on. But, I'm not going to go out and tell other people, I just don't agree with that. I guess that's another big writing. It's like, we agree that this is what's been presented to us, but we're not going to condemn it. We're not going to start trying to say, well, look, this is wrong. This here is wrong. And I want you to follow me. I want you to understand. Then I want you to go and, you're going to try to get everybody to change that. Because you don't have to change it. Because you know what? You don't have to agree with it. If you can't understand it, if you can't accept it, if it doesn't make sense to you, okay, let it go. Somebody else may not have that problem. Kudos to them. So, you're covered. And like I said, these are the basic things. The biggest thing you're going to run into, sorry fellow Baha'is, is fellow Baha'is. I got a tattoo on my leg. I got a tattoo. Got my first tattoo when I was 60 years old on my calf. And it's a nondescript thing. It's kind of like a Fibonacci design, and I like that. Fibonacci was kind of interesting to me. You can look that up. It's an Italian guy. He came up with some math, and there's patterns in the world. And he's mumbling under his breath, oh, that's a nice tattoo. When are you going to get rid of it? What? Number one, tattoos for personal reasons, you can do it. But the Bahá'í Faith, because there's a lot of faiths, a lot of religious beliefs that require tattoos. Require a tattoo for their religious reasons. If you're part of them, you gotta have a tattoo. It means this, it means that, protection, blah, blah, blah. So, no, you're not required to have a religious tattoo. We don't have any. We don't endorse any. If you want to have a tattoo that's benign, do it. And it's nobody's business. And I don't even say anything. Like, yeah, okay, you need more. You just need to study. In my mind, I go, well, you just need to study more. You know, um, you think you got to report it to the local spiritual assembly. They'll be the ones that are there to tell you, now, come on. That's backbiting. You're worried about somebody else. But, like, if I wasn't a Baha'i, this is the truth. See, I wasn't a Baha'i. And I had all kinds of tattoos. Man, that's some really outrageous tattoos. Maybe she had a dancing belly dancer on my stomach. I know that's not too terrible, but you're still going to go closer to God. You're still going to go closer to God. We all are. That's the good news, man. That's the good news. So no matter what we do, whatever we don't do, no matter what we think, no matter what we don't think, atheists, agnostics, whatever, joke on them, we're all going to go to the same place. And it's going to be good. And you're not going to regret it. So that's all I'm going to say today. And later I'm going to start reading out of God Speaks Again. So it might be handy if you get it. Like I said, you can get it online on Amazon.com, and there's another one called ABE Books. And there's a lot of used versions out there for $5, $6, $7, and that probably includes shipping. So it's no burden, but it's the best thing that I suggest when you're brand new to be able to understand everything. Gives you a little bit about the history. Throw some names out. The precursor to Baha'u'llah was the Bab. He was the gate. And then from Baha'u'llah passed away, and his son Abdul Baha took over. And then after Abdul Baha, his family member Shoghi Effendi took over. And one of the strange mysteries was he was supposed to leave a will stating who would take his place, and he didn't. This is one of those, okay, this worked out for the better, because what it did was it forced Shoghi Effendi had been working on it, but it forced the faith to accelerate what they call the Universal House of Justice with its 9 members. And then a group of 9 elected would be the leadership of the faith. And it's not a leadership, it's not a pope. They're at the same level as you. Okay? And that is in Haifa, Israel. But every nation has a national spiritual assembly, which is there for helping the entire country. And in every little town, village, city, you're going to have a local spiritual assembly. So you see that growth there. These are local spiritual assembly, the LSA. This is where you're going to, take care of your town, your city, your families, your children. In the future, the hope is that in every city, there's going to be a universal house of worship where everybody, no matter what they believe and think and are and do, welcome to come in at any time. And there's nobody up there preaching to you, but you can go up there and you could read. If you're a Christian and there's something important in your Christian New Testament that you wanted to read, just quote it, and you could do that. And the same thing for somebody who's in the Jewish faith and there's something in the Torah that they wanted to read. Because we are all speaking to the same Creator. There's only one Creator of everybody. Okay? And there's only one earth, and there's only one humanity. And we're very against and do not approve and do not accept racism in any way, shape, or form. We do not accept gender bias against women. Not at all. Men and women are equal. And it's like a bird with one wing. It can't fly with both wings. One wing is the man, one wing is the woman, and the bird is going to soar. And that's humanity. That's humanity. So anyway, it's getting long. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm not a professional. I don't care to be. I'm just speaking from the heart. And I'm trying to create a survival guide and how to thrive the Baha'i Faith. Wish you well.